Let's get into this quick. Here is the most underrated lens from the Fujifilm lineup, in my opinion, the Fujifilm 50mm f2. Hello everyone, for those of you new to the channel, my name is Andrei Dima and I am a professional travel photographer. And today we are going to talk about things that make people avoid this lens and why you shouldn't. Like all Fujifilm lenses, this is very well built with a nice slick design. It's like a baby Darth Vader. I know that most people don't like the lens hood, but I actually like it. It makes this lens different, and if you don't like it, there are alternatives from other brands. But back to the build quality, I will keep it short. This lens is all metal and weather sealed, something the other offerings from Fuji, Viltrox or Sigma are not. You never know when a rain is going to start and ruin your plans of taking photos. Well, with this little lens you are covered. I am a travel photographer and sometimes I end up in countries that have a particular type of weather. It rains all day. Without a weather-sealed lens and camera, you end up drinking more beers than you planned, and the next day you won't be as sharp. You will get lazy and watch TV all day, so a weather-sealed lens saves you from that. This also protects it from dust, which if you ever want to change systems and sell all your gear, it will come in handy. People go crazy when they see dust inside lenses. The truth is, you can take as much care as you can of your lenses, but sometimes it just happens. The other reason that makes this lens appealing to me is its size and compactness. You can barely feel this lens in your bag. One of my favorite traveling hiking combos is the X-T4 with the 16mm f1.4 and this lens. I use this lens like a short telephoto. It is 75mm full frame equivalent, making it quite useful when you don't want to carry a big zoom lens. The size and compactness also make it a great street photography option. It is true that for the money you can go for the Viltrox or the Sigma that are both f1.4s, but those are bigger, not weather sealed, and they don't have an aperture ring with clicks. I think f2 with the recent Fujifilm camera models is enough for low light situations. And what about Boca? Well, here is the thing. f2 for me it is perfect, and I will get back to that in a moment. Most people avoid this lens because they want Fuji lenses with f1.4 or f1.2, and that is great for wedding photography and portrait, but for the rest of us is too much. You don't want a completely blurred background when you take a photo on a beautiful street in Rome. You want subject separation, but you still want to get a glimpse of that background. I like to see the things that happen behind my subject a bit. It makes the photos look like those 3D postcards from the 80s and 90s. Don't think I have a problem with creamy out-of-focus backgrounds, but they are not for the type of photography I do, and maybe they are not for the type of photography you do. Also, this lens can focus as close as 37 centimeters, and the image quality is great starting with f2. Not many lenses have great close-up image quality, but the Fujifilm 50mm f2 manages that as well. I get it for weddings and events, where you don't want to catch people in the background doing weird stuff after they had too much champagne. But for travel and street, f2 is perfect, and if you really need a more blurred background, get closer. In terms of image quality, you get a bit more than you pay for. This lens is sharp starting from f2. Not perfect at f2, but in my opinion, good. The corners are just a bit soft and the center lacks just a bit of contrast, and you get just a tiny bit of purple fringing. After stopping this lens down to f2.8, the center contrast is great and the corners are sharper. Going further to f4 makes it almost perfect. You will need more megapixels than what Fuji offers at the moment to see the exact potential of this lens. Maybe the upcoming XH2 with that 40 megapixel sensor. What I'm trying to say, this lens performs very well on the current generation of Fujifilm cameras and old, like the Fujifilm X Pro 2. We're not done yet. The autofocus for photography is very good and snappy. Not the fastest or the most exact, but I was never disappointed, even in low light and interiors. It all depends on your style of shooting and how comfortable you are with your camera. This is another reason to get this over the more expensive 56mm f1.2. It is miles away better at autofocusing than that lens. You also have the option to get the 50mm f1. That is so weird to say f1. Yes, that is a great lens, but my back and my bank account don't agree with this lens. That is a more specialized lens and of course not for everyone, making this little 50mm f2 even more appealing at a third of the f1's price. Oh yeah, the f2's autofocus is still faster than the f1. When it comes to video, the story is different. The autofocus is decent, but I wouldn't bet my money on it. You can make it work with some setting tweaks and make it work well when shooting steady frames, yourself or interviews. So, should you get the Fujifilm 50mm f2? Well, if you want a sharp, really portable and fast focusing lens for photography at half or a third of the price of the other Fujifilm 50mm lenses, then yes. In my opinion, this is a great lens to have in your kit. It's a lens you are going to use in many situations and for different types of photography, even for landscape without breaking your back or your wallet. If this video was helpful, please subscribe, and if you want to support this channel even more, please check out my presets pack and use the affiliate links in the description below. See you next time.